Hey, Fitzdog radio fans. Those of you who've been with me from the beginning, we're coming up on 1,000 episodes this year. This year, we're going to have 1,000 episodes. I got to think of who. I think maybe I'll ask Rogan to be my guest on my 1,000th episode. And we'll do maybe a live one, perhaps in Austin, Texas. And do this thing right. I'm excited. It's just fucking crazy. Week in and week out. For 13 years, I've been doing this. For the love of the game. That's what it seems like sometimes. You know, that I just got me through the pandemic. That was maybe the best part of this podcast ever. Got me through that goddamn pandemic. And getting me through hard times. Like my dog died last week, and I got an outpouring of beautiful messages from people sharing about their pets dying, giving me condolences. It's been hard. It's been sad. We're still not in the groove at home. Things seem off. Hannah, the other dog, who is deaf and dumb and blind. Dumb? Do you say dumb? I think dumb. In all of the woke language changes that have occurred, some people have issues with, did we really need to change retard? Did we really need to change this and that? I think calling mute people dumb might be one we can all get on board with and say, yeah, let's call them. I don't even think mute. I'm sure mute is not the, mute sounds like a button you push to shut somebody up, as opposed to, you know, I guess some people don't speak. We had a neighbor whose daughter could speak but chose not to. I mean, as a little kid, as like a 3-year-old, I don't know what fucking psychological thing happened with her, but she chose not to speak. And I think she spoke to the mother, and that's it. And even then, she barely spoke to the mother, but that was it. It was really weird. Anyway, so I was thinking about it with Hannah, how weird it is for her to have this lifetime companion. Like we've had both dogs for about 13 years. We rescued them at the same time. And to suddenly have this other animal, who's the only other animal in the house. Everybody else are these weirdos that walk on 2 feet and speak a language you can't understand, and they force your every choice on you in your life. When you eat, when you walk, when you get a treat, where you have to sit, when you have to be quiet. Like, your life is dominated by these weirdos, and then all of a sudden your one friend is just gone one day, and you can't ask what happened. Nobody's explaining to you that he had to go. He was very sick, and he was suffering, and he was biting people, and he's got to go. Although telling her that he was misbehaved and was put to death might help improve her behavior a little, since she pisses on the rug almost every day. Our living room, I counted the other day, our living room has 19 wee-wee pads on it. But what a weird life. Jesus. And my mom and sister are coming out, which is probably better because my mother is petrified of brulee. She's coming out for her 80th birthday. My mom's going to be fucking 80. God damn, I'm old. I mean, this is really about me. And I got to get her a nice present. I got to think of something creative. We got to plan a nice event for her. A lot of pressure with the mother and the sister coming out. My sister's only visited me twice in 23 years that I've been in LA. And so I got to make it special for her. Her husband's not coming, Rob, who I love, but I'm a little perplexed about why he's not coming out. But maybe I'll call him and give him some shit. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be an amazing time. That's going to be in August. We've got my sister-in-law and brother-in-law. This is Erin's sister, or she's a half-sister, and her husband, Shaheen, who's Iranian. He grew up in Iran, and they fled in the 70s. And he and I are fierce competitors. We played a lot of backgammon and a lot of darts over the last week. and we always get within a point of each other. Every game ends dead heat by one dart or one backgammon, one roll of the dice in backgammon. We fucking close every time. Good dude. And so they're going to Mexico, and they're wondering about going through security. And I said, the last time we went to Mexico, the key to security is when we got there, as we got off the plane, JoJo had gotten some kind of virus, and she vomited on the walkway off the plane. What do you call that thing? And so the security just put her in a wheelchair, and we skated around this hour-and-a-half long line to go through customs. And so I said, if you can get one of your kids, it would be pretty sweet if you had a bulimic kid. Just for certain, I mean, better than TSA, better than global entry is like, sweetie, you look like you put a few pounds on lately. And then just watch the magic happen. And whoosh, right through. Been doing a lot of stand-up lately. I'm on fire. I've had some good shows. Stand-up, you go in waves. You have times where your confidence is high, where your mental acuity is sharp, where you're fluid, where you have a vision during the set of what you're trying to do, and it all comes together. And I've had a bunch of those sets lately, and they come in clusters. So I'm taping them all. I'm writing new stuff. I'm enjoying it. And but I'm on fire, folks. If you want to come see some good stand-up, I suggest you come see me, of all people. And I watched Top Gun the other day because I hadn't seen it in so long. And I saw the sequel, and I was like, I got to see the original. Holy gay fest, Batman. It is so homoerotic. Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise, if they did not have sex during the filming of that film, I am shocked. They would have these stare downs, these nose-to-nose stare downs. And at one point, they're staring each other down after saying something really like you can be my... He goes, at one point at the end, he goes, you can be my wingman anytime. And then Val Kilmer goes, you can be my wingman anytime. And at one point, Val Kilmer, when they're nose-to-nose, he chomps his teeth at him. It was like, what was that? It was amazing. And you can tell, I realized something when at the beginning of the film, they show you, there's some text that scrolls by. And, they leave it up on the screen. And I realized you got to know your audience. Like if you watch a Ken Burns thing, which is airing on PBS, and they got to assume that their viewers are college educated, they're smart, they're sharp, and you gotta watch on the edge of your seat because shit moves with Ken Burns. They go from slide to slide. And then you watch Top Gun, and they know who their viewers are. They leave that writing up there for like 5 minutes, one screen of writing, because it's not the brightest people. The brightest people are not watching Top Gun. That sounded kind of mean. What am I, the mean guy now? Ran into an old friend of mine, and it reminded me of a time. This is totally random, just a thought. I was working on a TV show, and I was having chest pains in the office, and I thought I was having a heart attack, and here's what I did. Here's what an Irish Catholic shame-based I don't want to be a burden guy does. I ducked into an office alone to die. I didn't call out for help. I didn't want it to be all about me. Anyway, I was just listening today to Sam Cooke, who's one of those guys. I don't know if you're like me. I listen to music every day, all day. It's all I do is listen to music. And so I have I go by gut. I just kind of go. Sometimes I'm in the car and I hear a song by, Steely Dan, and then I'll put on a Steely Dan album, probably Asia, or you hear like a Santana song, or maybe, or you're in a store and you hear some fucking Gypsy Kings, and so you throw that, or whatever. Or sometimes I just think, what am I feeling emotionally? What do I need to hear? And so today I needed to hear Sam Cooke. And I put on Sam Cooke, and he's one of those guys you forget that you're supposed to listen to Sam Cooke often, because it's just gold. His voice is fucking gold, and he's got beautiful songs. And I didn't realize he had like 29 top 40 hits in a very short career. He only had like an 8-year career because he tragically died, and I couldn't remember how he tragically died. And I had a feeling, I said to myself, he's the king of soul. I think a lot of people have tried to steal that moniker of king of soul. Maybe Ray Charles, who legitimately could be called something like that, but or James Brown, or Little Richard, but really, I think it really is Sam Cooke. I think he came ahead of those guys. But I said, I bet he had an interesting death. I mean, obviously he died at 30. There's a story there. So I looked it up, and let me just read you in case you don't know. Maybe a lot of you know how Sam Cooke died. But just the lives that these guys had, these singers in the 50s that were, you know, getting black artists that were being ripped off by the white labels and who were traveling in the Chitlin circuit and B rooms and not getting paid and getting shot at, and just what a life. And so anyway, so Sam Cooke had 3 kids, 1 drowned. Of course, there had to be some fucking horrible tragedy. The kid was like 2 when he drowned in the pool. After he died, which again was at like age 30, his widow Barbara married his friend Bobby Womack. And if you don't know Bobby Womack, that's somebody else you should be listening to. Womack sexually abused. Maybe you shouldn't listen to him. Womack sexually abused Cooke's daughter Linda. And Linda then married Womack's brother, her rapist, Cecil Womack, and they became the duo Womack and Womack. I'm sure that was a healthy relationship. So Cooke fathered 3 children out of wedlock. In 1958, a woman in Philly claimed Cooke was the father of her son. Cooke paid her $5,000. That's all it took in 1958. Here's 5 large. Hit the pavement, sister. Take that fucking screaming kid with you. Cooke was killed at the age of 33 on December 11th, 1964 at the Hacienda Motel in South Central Los Angeles. The cops responded to a shooting and a kidnapping at a motel. The motel's manager, Bertha Franklin, said she shot him in self-defense. You should listen to her album as well. It's called I Shot the King of Soul. The police record states that Franklin fatally shot Cooke, who had checked in earlier that evening. Franklin said that Cooke had banged on the door of her office shouting, "Where's the girl?" in reference to Elisa Boyer, a woman who had accompanied Cooke to the motel and who had called the police that night from a telephone booth near the motel minutes before Carr had. Franklin shouted back that there was no one in her office except herself, but an enraged Cooke did not believe her. Forced his way in, naked except for 1 shoe and a sports jacket, which, by the way, is what I wear on the Friday Night Late Show when I'm on the road. He grabbed her, demanded again to know the woman's whereabouts. She grappled with Cooke. The two fell to the floor. Then she got up and got a gun. She fired at Cooke in self-defense because she feared for her life. Cooke was struck once in the torso, and he exclaimed, "Lady, you shot me?" in a tone that expressed perplexity rather than anger, which I think I conveyed there pretty nicely. Before advancing on her again, she said she hit him in the head with a broomstick before he finally fell to the floor and died. Boyer, which is the woman who he took home that night, told police that she first met Cooke earlier that night, had spent the evening in his company. She said that after they had left a local nightclub together, she had repeatedly requested that he take her home, but it appeared he was intoxicated and drove her against her will to have sex. They got to a motel room where he physically forced her onto the bed, stripped her to her panties. She said she was sure he was going to rape her. When he went to use the bathroom, she grabbed her clothes and ran from the room. She said that in her haste, she also scooped up most of Cooke's clothing by mistake. But good move. She said she ran into the manager's office, knocked on the door, but the manager did not respond. So she fled and put her clothes on, hid Cook's clothing, and then called the cops. Some of Cook's family and supporters, however, have rejected Boyer's version of the events. They believe that there was a conspiracy to murder Cook. Interesting. On the perceived lack of an investigation, Cook's close friend Muhammad Ali said, quote, if Cook had been Frank Sinatra, the Beatles, or Ricky Nelson, the FBI would be investigating. So, who knows? But this woman ended up getting paid out $30,000 from the Cook estate. I want to die like that. I don't want to rape anybody, but I want to get shot at a motel and have Muhammad Ali or like the equivalent. I want Mike Tyson to make a statement about me. Wouldn't that be nice? What a way to go. Anyway. All right, let's get to some mail. Here's a fun one from Brittany. We had a pool growing up, and we had lived in the outer suburbs. From time to time, we'd find a drowned rodent or bunny. One day, we came home to discover a goat had drowned in the pool, and it had a collar. I wonder if goats think that they're the greatest of all animals because they're the goats. Do you think that? Do you think that this new phraseology of greatest of all time, you think that's affected the ego of goats? I wonder. And it had a collar. It was someone's pet. So my dad took charge, put the goat in a black hefty bag, threw it in the back of the truck, and took off. When he returned, we asked him what he did with it. Did he find the owner? No. He took it down to the nearest Costco and threw it in a flower bed. It was the middle of summer. He said he figured someone was in charge of the landscaping and would discover the body quickly. Needless to say, we're horrible people. Fuck Costco. I say everybody drop your dead pets. Let that be a thing that Costco does, is you dump dead animal corpses in their landscaping and they have to deal with it. I mean, actually, I shouldn't shit on Costco. I hear they pay well. I think they might even be unionized. I think that Costco is actually a decent place to work. So don't throw dead goats there, everybody. I take it back. Let's do a couple of overheards. This comes from Steve. Oh, wait. I don't know who this one comes from. Oh, Eric from Duluth, Minnesota, which is a great town, by the way. Not in the winter, but it's a great town otherwise. And I believe it's where Bob Dylan is from. So Greg overheard walking down the street in Duluth. Guy says to his girl while getting into the car, quote, McDonald's got them twist cones. Yeah. Her reply, not this again. Yeah. I mean, if this guy, what causes it? What causes him to suddenly get fixated on a McDonald's ice cream cone? But I got to think, McDonald's is so unhealthy, and then ice cream cones are so unhealthy. Maybe it's a double negative. Maybe if you get junk food at McDonald's, if you get dessert at a McDonald's, maybe it's not that bad. I don't think I've ever had a McDonald's ice cream. I'm going to get one today in honor of Eric in Duluth. Steve Ango said, overheard on the beach in Brigantine, New Jersey. Never heard of it. 4 guys on the beach next to us. Guy number 1 says, yo, we got to get something going tonight. Guy 2, yeah, I hear that, but my sister is hands off. Guy number 3, what do you mean? Mikey fucked her already. Guy number 2, yeah, but that was only once. Guy number 4 shrugs. End of conversation. Yeah, that's tough. It's tough when you got a sister who's the same age as your friends or a little younger. I had sex with a few sisters in my day. Some sisters of friends. It's just too easy. They're in the proximity. You're sort of like, you don't have to make the initial acquaintance. It's made. You're pre-approved. If they get along, if the brother and sister get along, then the sister thinks you must be an okay guy if you're hanging out with her brother. And if not, maybe she wants to get back at her brother by banging one of his friends. I don't know. There's a lot of ways in. I found a few. And then I have a sister, and I I don't know. I imagine she hooked up with some of my friends. I know she dated one of them, and it did not end well. He cheated on her, and I was going to kick his ass, but I did not. I felt like it would have been giving him too much credit. He didn't deserve an ass kicking. He deserved an ass kicking, but he didn't deserve it. Like, it was too good for I don't know how to explain it, except it would have, like, sanctioned the relationship in the first place. But I just kind of... Anyway. I'll ask her about it this summer when she's out, if she had sex with any of my friends. I'm sure she did. Other places I'm going to be this summer, I will be in Ogunquit, Maine on August 11th at Jonathan's, in Manchester, New Hampshire on August 12th and 13th at Chunky's Cinema Pub, and then Lowell, Arkansas, September 16th and 17th at The Grove, New Orleans on October 6th at Howlin' Wolf, Lafayette, Louisiana, October 7th at Club 337, Tampa, Side Splitters in November, and Plano, Texas in December. Got a bunch of dates all coming in the last week. I'm filling up my fall and my winter right now. I got a bunch of other ones I'll be announcing next week. So diggity, diggity, diggity. I also want to talk to you guys about inflation is about to kick your ass. One way to hedge is to buy art. Can you afford a Picasso? No, you can't. Can you afford a fucking poster of The Doors? Yeah, but that's not going to get you any money. So what you're going to do is you're going to get involved with Masterworks. It's a group that they basically pool money, your money and other people's, and they go ahead and they buy that expensive art. The kind of expensive art that just goes up in value. Contemporary art prices have outpaced the S&P 500 by 164% from 1995 to 2021. It has doubled the S&P 500 returns for the last 26 years. It goes up like 14% annually. And when inflation kicks in, it goes up even more, like 23%. So look, Masterworks has like 500,000 members. They're valued at $1 billion. And they own this art, and you can own a little piece. It's like a mutual fund of art. So it doesn't correlate to stocks. You don't know how to pick stocks. You're a moron. You're like me. You lose money in stocks. This seems like a really good, I put some money into it. So you got my endorsement. So here's what you're going to do. We reached out to their team and scored you a special deal. Masterworks is even giving Fitzdog radio listeners priority access to their newest offerings. Head to masterworks.art/Fitzdog for priority access. That's masterworks.art/Fitzdog, Fitzdog. See important disclosures at masterworks.io/CD. Okay, also, people talk a lot about the CBD. It's a big part of my life. I rub the lotions on my sore muscles. I take tincture that helps me sleep. But sometimes there's THC in there that I don't want. If it's during the day, I like sometimes some balance that I can get from my CBD, but I don't want to get high. So, CBD products, they promise a lot, and a lot of them don't deliver what they're saying they can do. Certified Brands Group was founded by scientists that were sick and tired of all the BS CBD products. That's why they created their own brand of products that actually work. Zen, Xen, Relief, and Recovery. If you have trouble sleeping, again, I use their Trinity of Sleep tincture. It combines CBD with CBG and CBN for the best night's sleep you could have in ages. And it contains 0 THC. Certified Brands products are triple tested to ensure purity. What's on the box is what's in the bottle, and it just works, people. I have a special offer for Fitzdog listeners. Go to www.tryxen.com and use code FITZ, FITZ, for $25 off your order. That's www.tryxen.com. Use promo code FITZ at checkout for $25 off your order. Okay, listen, let's get to my guest, who I'm very excited about. This is a guy. There's comedians that all comedians respect. There's not a lot of them. And Dom Irrera, my guest today, is one of them. He's a guy I just fucking sit. Every time he's on, I sit in the room and watch. He's a master. He's been doing it a long fucking time. He's an old bastard. And he's still going strong. He's been on the Oprah Winfrey Show, The View, The Tonight Show many times. He's been on Craig Ferguson, Letterman. He was on King of Queens. He was on Seinfeld a lot. He was on 11 episodes of Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist. He was voted one of the top 100 funniest comics of all time by Comedy Central. He does a lot of voiceovers on Hey Arnold, Back at the Barnyard. And he was the chauffeur in the movie The Big Lebowski. He had a very funny scene. Roasted Bruce Willis a couple years ago. He did a great job on that. So anyway, I chatted with him last week. We had a great time. Here he is, the legendary Dom Irrera. The great Dom Irrera joins me now. If you're not watching on video, he's got on the sexy parts of a gladiator costume.
That's right. That's the way I'm most comfortable, you know. I hop right into the tub. I don't take anything off.
Somebody was telling me this joke. Guy knocks on the door, and a 7-year-old boy answers the door, and he's wearing a tiara, negligee. He's got a bottle of scotch and a cigar. And the guy says, "Are your parents home?" And he goes, "What the fuck do you think?"
I love that. It's funny. We know so many jokes that you got to go. I love the snail joke. Which one?
Yeah.
Well, 10 snails.
Yeah. What did the snail say when he was riding on the back of the turtle?
Yeehaw! You see, we're always writing. Did you ever write any jokes that stuck to the stunk? Stuck.
You mean that became like street jokes that people tell?
It's really hard.
I wrote this one. It was about what was the guy's name who was the Clippers coach that was racist?
He was a rapist?
Oh, Don Sterling. Remember Don Sterling?
Oh, the owner. Yeah.
The owner. Yeah. So Don Sterling, he was he baked some cookies. No, wait, what was it? Oh, he said, somebody asked him after he'd been fired, he goes, "Well, who do you think is going to win the NBA championships this year?" And he goes, "Well, I think the Clippers are going to win, but then again, I'm prejudiced."
I didn't remember that. That's funny. Why would an owner be openly prejudiced? I mean, how disconnected are they from reality?
Of all leagues to be prejudiced against black people, and NBA's
the NBA, yeah.
Yeah, right. What are you, a Sixers fan? Lifetime Sixers fan?
But I have no character or morals. If I like I love watching the Warriors play.
Yeah.
Just fun. I mean, the kid's unbelievable.
Steph Curry?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He takes bad shots and makes them.
Yeah.
When he goes, "Don't take," no, yeah.
Yeah. He's one of those players that you just know when it's crunch time, you give him the ball. He's the guy.
Yeah, it's funny you should ask me this. I was talking with my friend O'Hanlon, who used to coach, and I said to him, he got some good players. He goes, "I got to get more black kids. They're just superior." He said, "I can't say that because I get in trouble." I said, "What do you say?" He said, "Athletes." I said, "I got to get more athletes." So 2 weeks later, he was playing Towson State. I said, "How's Towson?" He goes, "They're athletic." I said, "How athletic?" "Very athletic." That means even the trainer can dunk.
Wait, is this high school level?
College.
Yeah.
I mean, it's look at history and say there's not a difference. Look at the history of running backs. I think there's not one in the top 10. John Riggins, I think, but if not him, then nobody.
Yeah. Did you play college hoops?
I played JV.
JV? Yeah.
I couldn't play I played for community college in Philadelphia. And it was a good team because they were all bad students, you know?
Right.
And that was a really good team. And we had a couple guys who made the pros.
Oh, no shit. Really?
You realize how good the pros are when you play with these guys.
Right.
He just stopped missing.
Yeah.
Like he would practice. And then like September comes and all of a sudden he never missed a shot.
Right.
Ollie Johnson was his name. Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to BU and we didn't have a great basketball program. We never showed up with a great team for some reason.
Did you grow up in Boston?
No, I grew up in New York.
It's funny. Your accent is in the middle too. Really. Where do people think you went?
Well, I went to BU and then I stuck around Boston for a few years. So I think I might have picked up a little bit of a Boston thing, but also my father was in radio. And even though both my parents were from the Bronx, and my mom has a very thick New York accent, my father did not tolerate it in the house. When we would talk with an accent, he'd be like, "That's not how we speak here." I'm like, "Mom talks like that." Well, you're not talking like that.
But he had like the announcer voice?
Well, he was AM radio, so it was a little announcery. It depended on which station he was on. Like if he was on WNEW, which he was mostly on in New York, he was conversational, but then sometimes he'd get fired and then he'd go work on WABC and it was like, "Welcome back to WABC."
Yeah.
And he had to do that sing-song voice.
You know, when the camera came on and I saw myself, it's so sad. It's like to see myself now. I don't think I look like this until I go to I swear to God, I feel like I'm like this young buck. I look at it. They said, "What would you get done with plastic surgery?" I go, "My whole head, anything that moves." Do you ever look at me now? I know you haven't gained as weight as much as me.
No, it's not I'm the opposite. I've lost weight in my head. So I look like I took a picture the other day with Tom Segura because he had a book talk and he asked me to moderate it. And so there was a picture of the two of us next to each other. We both have shaved heads. And every single comment was like, "Hey, Greg, when did you get leukemia? Hey, Tom, nice of you to do a Make-A-Wish Foundation kid." Like every single comment was about me having cancer or AIDS.
Somebody said to me, you know how you can ask a question? He goes, "How do you get these hot chicks like you?" It was like, "How do you get them?" It's like, "How do you get them?" I don't know. Just talk to them.
Well, you're unbelievable. I've never seen anybody be as comfortable around women as you are. Women they feel safe, even though they're clearly not, but they feel very safe in your presence. What is that?
Gee, I don't know. It's a gift. I think, honestly, one thing is I don't, I'm myself with them.
Yeah.
Love it or leave it. It's like, I don't try and impress them. I never brag.
Yeah.
Because I'd much rather like a girl go, "You didn't tell me you were a comedian like that, like at that level. I thought you just wanted a chair and sit." You know, because I remember at the Improv in New York, I was like, I was sitting down, this girl goes up, she goes, "You took my seat." I said, "I'm sorry." I walked, and then I went on stage. When I came off, she was completely different to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the stand-up has a lot to do with somebody, guys like you and I mean, we think all the time.
Yeah.
If they enjoy that, like guys trying to impress them with the 40-yard, what's your 40?
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, it's very interesting because you look back on our lives as comedians and the perks that you get, you can't even, and it's like people talk about, "Yeah, I got a free blender because I did this talk show," or, this car company gave me a free lease for a year. Like there's all those perks, but the main perk is just what you said, the transformation of when you go on stage and then you come off and the credibility that you get. People get generous to you. Oh, yeah. "Hey, you want to play golf at my golf course?"
You're not paying for that. You don't pay for that.
Yeah, right.
I remember Pauly Shore coming in the Comedy Store one night and he said, why do all the girls come and hug you? And I have a 3-picture deal and nobody hugs me.
Yeah.
I said, "Well, because you're not normal with them. Act like you are just with people."
Right.
Not that I'm the sane above. I got my sleazy side too, but
yeah.
we gotta, when you grab them, when you hold them, You don't like pressing against you. Little things like that. Don't start humping on them like a dog.
Yeah.
I'll feel more relaxed with you.
I know, because I look at your Instagram page. I forget. I was looking at it one day, and it's just you with beautiful woman after beautiful woman, and they're always hugging you. You're not hugging them.
No, I learned that a long time ago. Even with kids, you know, I used to teach fourth grade, and I never hugged a kid straight on.
Yeah.
You know, I would put them here, gently here, and that's it. You know, you're not going to get me in trouble when I didn't know what was happening. I didn't think we jumped to that subject right away. Thank you for tolerating me.
I didn't know you taught fourth grade. What subject?
Everything. Everything, because it was a Catholic school. So the only thing I taught the dumb kids in math, because I was one of the, you know, so we didn't get to fractions or any of that stuff. It was just all addition, you know, subject. It was like so like nothing. Like I felt bad, but even I understood it. You know, adding and contracting. Well, I love the kids. Yeah. My only beef was, honestly, and this is where I know it's going to be a comedian. I love the hours that we have. Yeah. We have this thing 3 o'clock today. I started getting ready around 12 because otherwise I would have slept till 25 to 3. You know, just. Are you like that, or do you have a day life? No,
I think because I have kids, I always like last night was a rare night where I went on at the store and there was like a crazy good lineup. And then afterwards, the green room or the main room, it was like an opium den. Everybody had a joint or a pipe or a fucking vape pen, and everybody's getting high. They had a bottle of tequila out, and Bert Kreischer was there, and he's got his shirt off.
Oh, he's always got his shirt off.
Yeah, and I actually hung out till like midnight, which is like late for me. Usually I come in, park my car, I do my set, I say hi to a couple people, and then I go home.
When I do the early show on Saturday, I don't see anybody. Yeah. I'm like the second guy on, maybe it's my age, I think, let Pops go to bed because I'm out of there and home for 8:15. Yeah, right. Now what? I know. And then once in a blue moon, you run into one or two people that you want to hang out with, and you go and you remember, like, oh yeah, I love this part of the job. I love a good hang. Oh yeah. The thing that kills me is the guys who can't get on keep saying it loudly. I would be like so discreet about that. Like, keep on after 10 years of comedy. Yeah. You know, where are you going? You know. Right. But you get these guys, I can't believe that he hates me. I go, he don't hate you. He has to pay his bills. You got to put the guys that can draw people. That's all. It's a business. Right. Yeah. They take it so personally. Yeah. And it's also about, like, if you're not on at a place, it's about hanging out. You know, hang out and be cool about it. Don't stand there complaining. Just be the guy that when somebody doesn't show up, they go, hey, we need somebody, you're on. And then you go prove yourself, you know? Yeah. I still love it. That's the only thing. I mean, I don't like to travel anymore. Yeah. But I can't believe it's like a sport to me. And I don't know, I just try and see what I can tweak or get a little better, a little funnier, you know? Yeah. I guess if you lose that, you just shouldn't be up there anymore. You killed the other night. I always love watching your sets. You fucking destroyed. And there's something about, like, you've been like, the shit you say on stage, nobody else is saying that shit. And it's like you've been grandfathered in. Like, nobody can stop you from saying the shit that you say, and it still works. Well, I get away with a lot of racial stuff. I remember right before Tiffany hit it, you know, we were at a Christmas party, everybody, and they were going to take a picture of all the black guys, black comedians, couple women. Yeah. And Tiffany goes, "Where's Dom?" He goes upstairs. He goes, "Come on, Dom, you're one of us." And whatever that meant, I felt it was like a love thing. That they love me, and I'm not I just, you know, I don't want to sound like here it goes again, but it's just treating people nicely, you know? Right, so, right. I remember the first time I met you, I got such a kick out of you because I could see you were like a little better pool than me. And you kind of like, I feel like, is he trying to hustle me? Because you know, I got a tough little Irish kid comes in, you know, because you kind of knew but I hadn't known you that well anyway. Remember that? Yeah. I remember. Was that in Montreal or was that in LA? It It was at the Improv upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, that 8-ball table that shorter than usual.
Yeah, I didn't know you right away because I started in New York and you were already in LA at that point. So by the time I came out to LA, I'd already been doing it for 10 years or so. And
isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I mean,
it's easy to think I have jokes that are 30 years old.
Yeah. Shit. You know what? I fucking pull them out sometimes. On the 4th of July, I had this old joke about the flag that I did when I first started, and I pulled it out. And I just feel like after 30 years, I deserve all my jokes. If I'm doing crowd work and a topic comes up and I got a joke on it, I'm pulling out the joke.
I was at the Improv one night, and 4 Asian girls from UCLA, they weren't even 21, they were drinking soda, were laughing. And your mind splits into two things. I'm looking at them talk. I'm thinking, oh my God, if these girls are laughing like that, wait till I get to Philly or Boston.
Yeah, right.
We don't live in different worlds in a lot of things, you know.
Right.
I mean, I'm so retarded. I had to go sing. I mean, I'm so. I have one line. I go, I'm doing my act for you. You can't say retarded. You know who told me that? A little faggot friend of mine. And the audience always laughs, you know, but they know I'm kidding. And they know, you know, anyway. About we were talking about getting away with stuff.
Yeah. I think it's how comfortable you are saying it. And when somebody is saying it tentatively, the audience won't buy it. But when they're saying it like they don't have any judgment about it and there's no malice behind it, the audience feels that.
Yeah, it's fun when that clicks in.
Yeah, right.
I was thinking of what we're just talking about impressing girls and stuff. And I remember as a 4th grader, I thought I was in love with this girl from the 3rd grade. You know, I always like younger chicks. Uh-huh. And you know what I did to impress her? I would run by her house as fast as I could, as if like she's watching. Wow, what is that? A 42 and a 40? Wow. Like she could care less. She thought I was some nut.
Yeah. Right. Oh my God, the things that I've done to impress girls. Oh my God. It's
like what? Give me an example.
Well, I tried to fight this guy one time because I saw a guy talking to a girl and I could see she didn't want him talking to her. And I had already talked to her earlier and I didn't get much out of her. I got the sense that this wasn't going anywhere. So I saw this guy annoying her. So then I walked over and I said, "Excuse me, I'd like to talk to my girlfriend." Ooh. And then he said, he goes, "She didn't say she had a boyfriend." I go, "Well, she does." And then I look at her and I go, "Right?" And then she goes, "No." And then the guy tried to fight me and he broke it up.
It's hilarious.
I had a whole different ending scripted, but it didn't go that way.
I thought it was going that way too. Stuck this in, boom.
When's the last time you got in a physical fight?
Really long. I mean, all these guys that talk about fighting, they hardly ever fought. All the fights I was in were in basketball and football. Not touch football, not regular football.
Right.
But basketball was the worst. I got in a lot of fights.
You did.
I remember I kicked the kid's head like it was going to be a goal.
No shit.
Like, I mean, I actually, I was so pissed. I centered him real quickly and I backed up and go 1, 2, 3, boom. And the coach, everybody pulls me in the locker. And Dom, he goes, "You can't kick somebody in the head." He goes, "I know that." I'm telling the coach, "I'm sorry." Then about 10 minutes, they stopped the whole game. The little Italian guy who looked just like me goes, "Thanks a lot, Nick. They fucking thought I was you." They beat the shit out of him. Then me and the coach just started laughing. How about you? Have you been in like bar brawls and stuff?
Yeah, I used to I got arrested twice and I spent the weekend in jail both times for fighting, for disorderly conduct.
Was a lot of alcohol involved?
A lot of alcohol involved. Yeah, I haven't had a drink in like 30 years. And when I drank, I used to get into fights when I drank a lot. And I wasn't a big guy, but I was very quick. Yeah. I was quick and I had big friends. So I usually would get in a couple punches before my friends would step in and break up the fight before I got hurt. That was my MO. My roommates in college were these
two football players, and one was the captain of the team and the other guy was the star running back. And I just hung out with them, and I had a big fucking mouth, and I always stayed within 5 feet of them.
I was a bouncer at a place called Doc Watson's in Philadelphia, and Randall Cobb was my partner. Remember Randall?
No.
He fought Holmes, I think, a couple guys. But
really?
Heavyweight. Uh-huh. He was a karate champion, but he was still fighting. At the best at the top, we were going, please go down. Just hit the mat, fuck this. But I remember that they messed with him so much more than me because I don't know anything. My father was a boxer. I know how to throw a punch. I don't really know how to fight. I mean,
yeah.
But they thought I was about 140 pounds. They go, this motherfucker, he's got to know something.
Yeah.
And they would pick on Randall. They were crazy. He could kick him in the head. One of those guys.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
So this was before he fought professionally? He was working as a bouncer or after?
Both.
Really?
Yeah, he would come back and work the door.
So then
he got too popular and had to take him off it, Trying to think of who he fought. I think it might have been Larry Holmes.
What happens to a guy like that? Does he retire comfortably? Like, do you think he made enough money?
They have a lot of sad endings in boxing because so much damage to the brain, and they're not themselves after it. Look at Ali. He could have been lucid, and when, his daughter told me he understands everything going in. He's just when coming out, he doesn't understand it.
Right.
He hears you. He'll make you laugh, like he'll do a physical joke, and then he goes back into that shell.
Right.
I didn't mean to.
Who's never been in a fight really is Joe Rogan.
Who would want to fight him?
But everybody just assumes that he's like this aggressive guy because he knows a lot of martial arts. He's not really aggressive at all.
And Joe is the same. Like, he understands how strong he is.
Yeah.
Like he never hurts people. They go, stop, my neck's hurt,
Yeah.
He never does that shit. The only one with Eleanor Kerrigan.
Yeah.
They have a routine that he does, and that it's fucking scary because she's crazy and he's strong. They would come in and she'd be upside down. He'd sweep the floor with her hair and then let her flip away. You grew up with big Irish family, like 10 kids and the boys.
Right. Yeah, she told me some crazy stories about Philly. She told me about a night where, because they had no money, but I guess they were big Sixers fans. No, it was a Flyers game. It was the winter, and there was a snowstorm that was so bad that they put out an announcement on the radio that the game was on tonight. They want to fill the stands. Anybody who wants to come down to the Flyers game, free general admission.
Wow.
So she and all of her brothers and sisters and her mother had a fucking sled. She's like, one kid was so young they had him on a sled and they pulled him to the fucking arena and they watched the hockey game. It's the only time she's ever been to a hockey game.
You asked me if I was a Sixers fan. When they won in '83, that ended my thing, really caring, because I hated the Celtics.
Yeah.
They were always beating us, and they always beat the Lakers. But now I don't hate the Celtics. I look at them. I look at how great they were. What the best front line ever. And they brought Bill Walton in. So the hate's going, which takes away some of the fun.
I agree. I feel like that with the Mets. I was a big Mets fan until 1986, and I weathered a lot of bad years. I don't know if you remember, but the Mets sucked through the 70s and 80s. They weren't even good until 85, really. And then they won, and I sort of felt like it's never going to be any sweeter than this moment after that series. And I just kind of went I'm not going to be a fan anymore.
Well, for that 1 year, the Sixers, they won. It was one of the most beautiful teammates I've ever seen. The plays they would run, it was perfection,
Yeah.
But they wouldn't have done what they brought Moses Malone in. That's how they won.
Right.
Secret,
Right. And wait, who else was on the team at that point?
Andrew Toney, Maurice Cheeks, Bobby Jones, white guy who could do.
Bobby Jones. Yeah, I remember Bobby Jones.
Yeah. That's a great team.
Yeah.
I was also happy when the Eagles beat the Pats, but I didn't hate the Pats. I still hate Brady he's great. I think he's fun.
I think you're cheating yourself if you don't enjoy watching the greatest quarterback of all time. It's just to carry around hate for the guy is just your loss. It's your loss.
You hate him because he's good looking and he's got millions. He didn't do it. He worked hard.
Yeah, right. He's the guy who he didn't start in college. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. He earned it.
Who started it ahead of him? Shula or one of those?
I can't remember, but I know he didn't play until like his senior year.
Amazing, huh?
Yeah, I know. And
Drew Bledsoe, what would have happened if Drew Bledsoe didn't get hurt?
I know.
Yeah.
Right. So you think he's going to be able to take? I think Gronkowski retired. So
he always retires.
I know.
I retired too for that month of torture.
Yeah.
Still summer.
Right.
He's funny, man.
Yeah.
He reminds me of Barkley. Like they're goofy and say anything.
Yeah. I could see him being a commentator before I see Brady being a commentator. They just offered him $300 million or something when he retires to get in the broadcast booth.
Jeez. But I think, I think as good as Tony Romo.
Yeah. People love Tony Romo.
Well, he talks to you, like, what was the guy that got fired last
Troy
year?
Aikman?
No, for racial things. He was coaching. He was coaching the Raiders at the time, and he had to quit.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Gruden.
Okay.
But he would make it so. I didn't know what a bubble screen is. Just tell me. Tell me once or twice what these things are. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Where Romo just brings it down to your level that you can understand them.
Right. Yeah, I think that's like there's certain I watch a lot of football, but I don't really understand the complicated stuff because I never played.
I don't either. I watch it every weekend. I bet it every weekend. I don't know what a moving screen is. I don't know.
Yeah, right. So, I kind of understand play action. I got it. I got play action. That's about it. So what's your stance on abortion?
Like a vulturefish.
I usually just stand with my arms crossed out front until she's done. That's my stance.
Right on, sister. In the end, I think the baby is, I'm not a scientist if you didn't know that, but somehow of the lesser of two evils, I think women should have a right. I don't think it's any profound statement I'm making. I'm not saying they have a right to kill. I'm saying they have a right. The biological things, when is it crossed over? Once it's crossed over, then I think it's really tenuous ground you're walking on. But
yeah,
am I answering the question without poking?
I think you did it well. Jonathan Katz's answer to the question was, I said, when does human life begin? And he said, I think after the second cup of coffee.
I was trying to write a joke, and the punchline was, "You're allowed to kill them until they're 15." So I haven't done that joke in a couple of weeks. I'll tell you.
So the 45th trimester.
Right. I never thought that would come back. I'm so ignorant. I thought once a bill was passed by the Supreme Court, that's it. They're not going to keep hushing it up again.
Well, now they're saying that that's exactly what the spirit of the Supreme Court is supposed to be, is that you don't make major shifts in policy, that there should be continuity, and that Roe v. Wade was the groundbreaking shift, and that should be honored. I don't know. I don't know what's next now politically. It just feels like, they just did a survey and they said 85% of Americans think the country is headed in the wrong direction. So that means Republicans and Democrats both think the other side is running things and they don't like where it's going.
Yeah, Bill Maher is very smart the way he busts balls on both sides.
Yeah, right.
That's 47% of the audience is Republicans.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Democrats is plenty to make fun of. It's just it's very hard right now if you are a Democrat, because it feels like we're going into the midterm elections and we know we're going to get clobbered. And
remember how little jokes they had when Obama was president?
Yeah,
It was a big gap in those two things. It's like there were no like they trying with the present guy, but it's not the same. I mean,
yeah.
Donald Trump brought them so much attention. People would rather see him than Republicans would rather see him. Well, I don't want to get into it.
Yeah,
I'm talking in a circle.
All right. Well, let's talk about some of the stuff you've done recently. The Bruce Willis roast was. Here's what I liked about that roast: is it?
I almost got in a fight there.
What's that? Oh, did you?
Remember with the guy? What's his name? The actor that was there. And I said, you know, all he did is talk about himself. It's supposed to be a roast for Bruce. Matt. I know you know him.
Matt LeBlanc?
No. I should come
Matt Damon? Oh, well, but what I liked about it is like so many roasts, you see all the roasters, they've never met the guy. And in this one, it was actually Bruce's friends.
Yeah. Well, he said that he wouldn't, if they didn't give me that special, he wouldn't do it.
Oh, no shit.
I didn't want him to miss it, but me and Kevin Pollak, I guess, were the representatives from our group, you know?
Yeah, right. How did you know Bruce Willis?
I've known him since 1980. I just started being a comedian, and he was an actor. He took my place in a group called the First Amendment, and we just became friends. And the first time I saw him dancing around on some improv, you could tell he was going to be a star. He just had it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know a guy named Scott Krantz in New York? He used to manage the Stand Up New York Comedy Club.
I remember the name. I can't remember.
Yeah. So he used to bartend with Bruce Willis when Bruce was just like, he'd literally, you know, he'd come into his shift and he'd just come from an audition. And he's like, and Scott said, I knew he was going to be famous because he would come in from an audition and he'd be like, yeah, I went in for this Gillette commercial and they didn't want me. And you know why? Because they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
It was never him. It was always like them. Like, I am meant to be a star.
Yeah, he worked hard.
Yeah.
The guy that I knew the most would be a star was Eddie Murphy. And I didn't particularly care for him in the later years, the way he treated his family and his bouncers and all. But you could tell that kid had talent.
Oh, yeah? You saw him when he was like 19?
Yeah, I mean, he was never bad. I mean, yeah, Chris Rock, who I ended up bringing, Eddie brought him in. I never believed he's going to be one of the best comedians ever. Now he's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, he stumbled over words. He had a list. What wasn't funny. Then I see him a couple of years later. It was fucking great.
Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about watching Chris Rock is like he'll come into the clubs, he'll come into the store and try new material. And it's very different than watching Chappelle try new material because Chappelle is like a savant. He's just funny. He just talks funny. The first time he does a bit, it's already funny. And it's not with Chris. Chris does new material and it's clunky and it can be wordy and it can be unfocused. And then he hones it and then ends up putting out a special that I believe his specials are stronger than Chappelle's, but he doesn't start there. He's got to work for it.
Yeah. Well, he does. He'll come in the store and work. He'll do 10 minutes. He's not rude to people. He's nice to people.
Right.
Great guy.
Yeah.
And then
really?
They were the guy. One gets tackled and one gets slapped in the same couple of weeks. Two of the comedic treasures.
Right. I know. That shit was crazy.
And then people were trying to say it was staged. It wasn't staged. Nobody's that good.
No, did you see the pictures of that guy afterwards? Yeah. His arm was backwards. Yeah, they did a number on him. Jeez.
Oh, yeah. You mean the one that tackled Chappelle?
That tackled Chappelle. Yeah. Yeah, his guys went to town on him. It is crazy, though. Like, did you ever think in your lifetime there'd be this many comedians selling this many tickets? I mean, you know, the comedy club scene is doing really well. Like, there's a lot of clubs and people are coming out. But in terms of the number of big theaters and arenas that comedians are playing, I mean, this is
amazing.
Isn't it amazing?
Before I was a comedian, all we had really was Steve Martin, and he did arenas for a while. Then he couldn't do it. He couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
Robert Klein, a friend I ran the but there was no, I mean, now specials are not special because everybody has done specials.
Yeah.
And with this kind of equipment, we could have done this as a show and then sold it, you know?
Right.
Nobody can stop us. It's just,
yeah.
Everybody had a little contribution to that, I think.
Yeah.
So it's amazing though. Well, Louie C.K., he ended up selling his own tickets, right?
Sells his own tickets, and now he just made a movie with his own money. Literally paid for an entire movie with his own money, and you can get it on his website. It's opened in some theaters. I saw it last week, and it's great. You ever heard of a comic named Joe List?
No.
He's a New York guy, and he's part of that crew of guys like Mark Norman and Sam Morril that are all like coming out of New York right now, and real smart, funny guy. And so they did this movie, and yeah, you can only get it on his website or at like certain cities are having limited showings of it. Louie's got he just put out a new special, his website only. And then he just bought the rights to all the old episodes of his series, Louie from FX. He bought it and he's selling them on his website.
Wow.
Yeah. It's the only place you can see him.
I was doing a seminar at the University of Pennsylvania because I'm such a scholar. And I was talking to them and I said, I don't know how anybody makes it. It's such a tough business. And I thought, I'm not going to leave these kids on a bummer. I go, but somebody's got to make it. Why not you?
Yeah, right.
When they get out of that, because I was thinking, that 500 people a week call up the Laugh Factory and the Improv and Comedy Store.
Yeah.
So that means 500 probably give spots to 30, 40 people the most.
Yeah, right.
It's so hard to get free spots.
Yep.
If you look at it that way, it's so daunting that you're 19 years old. What do you want to be? I'd like to be a comedian, but I'll never make it.
Yeah.
Everybody does their own shows.
Yeah. I think there has to be you shouldn't know too much. It's better to go into it blind and just say, I want to do this. I want to have fun, follow that burning desire, keep showing up, and don't start thinking about the numbers because they're stacked against you and you'll give up.
You and I are two of the only people that can work all three clubs the same
Laugh
week.
Factory, the Improv, and the Comedy Store. Yeah.
There's only maybe 10, 15 guys that can do that.
Right.
Most of them don't come in. Like David Spade can do it, but he doesn't come in that much,
And who also work the road, who also go out and headline 8 rooms on the road. I mean, there's some guys that don't leave town.
Yeah. I don't know how well. The guys like Argus Hamilton are like kind of comedians, but also like journalists.
Yeah.
Argus
is so impressive. I mean, he's always coming in with new material.
Yeah, he really works hard. It's almost too new.
Yeah, right.
That could have been doctored in a little, but
yeah. So what's this? I saw you're doing a movie called James II. Did you shoot that already?
No, are you serious?
It's on your IMDb page. James II.
I don't know what that is.
It's
I'm doing movies without my own.
It's that guy from the Laugh Factory's directing it. Amin.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'm in the very beginning of it.
Oh, okay.
I'm really good for the publicity. I don't know what I'm in. Just point me to the stage. Yeah, I did a couple of years that I'm dying up here.
Oh yeah. How was that?
It was fun for me because I got to play as Jim Carrey just booked me. So I didn't have to dance.
Yeah.
And I played like a lounge comedian. Is this thing on? Hello. How's it working here? And that comedian, ever seen me do that on stage?
Yeah, of course.
A lot of fun. But
that's great.
Yeah, what happened was just a personality conflict. The main producer, and the star were at odds the whole time. The guy said to me, he told me, he says, I'll never work with her again. If I have to work with her, I won't do it.
No kidding.
That's good for teamwork, huh?
Oh, wow. Yeah, she is, she won an Oscar, so she wins.
Yeah, she carried that Oscar, that award around with her. And she loved me. I was fine with her.
Yeah.
We had this scene where I was dying,
and
she started crying, She wasn't even in the scene, but she goes, I can't stand to see you dead. I said, but I'm not dead yet. Let's have lunch.
That's great. So let me ask you a couple questions. I have some standard questions I've been asking all my guests. What did you learn about yourself during the pandemic?
I'm lucky to meet girls because I took a girl. I hardly knew her. We ended up living together. We're having a great time.
Really?
But the one thing I learned is I really can't be alone. I'm a mulch. I mean, I'll sit there, I'll watch CNN News and porn and sports.
Yeah.
Just have the three-man rotation. That's about, I'd be terrible alone. How about you?
I learned that I walked around for so many years saying if I just had some time, I would fill in the blank, learn another language, get in shape. Oh, yeah. And then all of a sudden, like 2020 came along and it was like, well, here's a year. And I realized I didn't do anything because I'm only good when I have to do it. I'm only good when I have a gun to my head. Like if I'm hired to write on a TV show, I'm the first guy there. I'm the last guy to leave. I work my ass off. Leave me alone to write my own act for a year, and I come up with nothing.
That's amazing. I agree. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I got all this time. I'll really get in shape. And
yeah.
Yeah, I need to be pushed. I need
a gun to my head. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because like you read like The Power of Now or any of these self-help books, and it's all about that you should be aspiring towards something and you should be visualizing some positive goal. But I realized like my entire life, I think I've been driven by fear, like fear of failure, fear of being not in it. And that's driven me to work really hard. And I don't want my kids to work that way, but it's what worked for me.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I remember coming out of that thing and everybody was hugging, and we just never appreciate the little things that we have, like hugging somebody.
Right.
So right. That really changed me.
Yeah. Have you ever not finished a set on stage?
I hit a guy hit the I thought it was the light to go, and it was like a bathroom light. So I came off stage about like 5-7 minutes early. Uh-huh. So that was one escapade. I was embarrassed for that. I said, "What do we do?" They're walking out. I think they're happy. Hey, it's 7 minutes short.
So you're saying in all the years you've been doing stand-up, you never had a situation that was so bad that you walked off stage?
Well, I was forced off stage like a couple of times with corporate dates because like one time I was doing something that was the owner, the company's wife. She got insulted. He got insulted. I mean, I did a gig with these women. I guess they were Pakistani. The little dots in their head.
Yeah.
And I said to the guy,
I think that's Indian, Don.
Thank you. I said to the guy, "Are you sure you saw my HBO special?" He goes, "Yeah, just do what you do." I said, "I don't know." And I'm up there. No, they're not laughing. Then this one guy stands up, Indian, I'm sure. And he goes, he grabs his chest. I go, "Oh, no, I'm killing the bastard." He grabs his chest and he goes, "My people, you're destroying my people." And I said, the girlfriend, she was in the car and she knew that we were out of there. And the guy hands me like it was a baton and a race. He hands me $2,500 in cash, and I hop over. This is when I could actually hop. I hopped over the window and got in the driver's seat and took away. I mean, they had no idea what I was saying. I don't know if you remember, it was just a stupid bit I used to do about to pinche loaf, to cape squat, to roll some love. And they didn't know what that meant, man. They're the kind of people that should have like a Ron Pearson.
Yes.
Great juggler, funny guy, good looking, nice guy.
Audience warm-up guy.
Yeah, you can't have like risky people like us radicals.
I know. Once in a while I get a corporate date and I have the same thought in my head. Like, have you seen my act? It's everything I do is not what they want. They don't want crowd work. They don't want politics. They don't want sex. They don't want cursing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I got left after that. It's all
you know what excuse me, I hate work a little blue.
Yeah.
I said, no, there's no little blue. If you have another word, you work, it would be like Tonight Show clean.
Yeah.
You know, little, what does that mean? You know, it's too precarious, as they say in the trades.
Yeah. Last question I'll ask you is, what's the hackiest bit that you ever did?
Happiest?
Hackiest.
Oh, hackiest. Oh,
yeah.
geez. I think there was Jerry Seinfeld, you know who he is.
Yeah.
He said that it was like about Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones and Keith Richards, and it was so easy and stupid. And then Jerry was not a prick with that stuff. He goes, yeah, I think you're better than that.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, it was about how pale he was and how he lived, and I got rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important that comedians tell each other that shit and not just say it behind their backs, but actually say, hey, you know, tease somebody about a stupid bit. I did it to Bobby Lee the other night.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can't remember what the bit was, but I gave him shit about it. And he's like, I know, which is the wrong guy to say it to because he already hates himself. He already hates his act.
Yeah.
He's so hard on himself.
Well, he did do the same exact thing for 10 years.
Yeah.
But he is funny. So.
Yeah. Yeah. He's very funny. All right, Dom, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for coming on.
I love it.
I love you, man. Thank you so much. And go to Dom's website. Right now, there's not a lot going on your website, Dom Irrera. I think
I'm starting to book him now, but I got this really nice gig in Philly on the 22nd, I think. It's called Love. You hear about these new casinos?
No.
It's a casino right in the city, which I didn't have when I was a stand-up there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's like 1,000-seater. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
And I got to write my ass off for New Philly because they know everything I do.
Yeah, right.
Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Great seeing you, Dom.
You too, Greg.
All right. Bye.